What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Ran When Parked. Now, I haven't made a video in a while. It's been pretty dry spell of content recently, but I'm back, and today I want to give you guys an update on everything that's been going on. Part of the reason why I haven't been making videos and what we're going to do moving forward, because I definitely have some interesting things coming. Plus, I may have bought a new project, and it might be something that I definitely shouldn't have bought. And it might be something that you guys are going to want to keep an eye on because it is going to be really cool as it comes together. So we'll get to that eventually. But first, let's talk about what I've done while you haven't been watching. All right, guys. So first things first. I guess we gotta talk about my wife's FJ40 behind me, our 72 Land Cruiser. I have gotten a ton of work done on it. I actually filmed most of a video, but I never edited it and put it on. And the reason why is I've had a lot of stuff going on recently. First and foremost, my wife is pregnant, so we have a kid coming, and I think she's due in May. So I got some time, but you know, that's been really hectic, and we've been doing a lot of work on the house and stuff like that. But generally, very exciting times, so that's been taking up some time. Secondly, my professional life has been very hectic recently. It's kind of end of year stuff for the business I work at, and that's been tough. Plus there's some other things that we probably won't talk about on the channel, but it doesn't matter. Either way, I've kind of been using my time working on the vehicles in the garage as what it started as, which is just my hobby. Like I didn't want to film necessarily, I just wanted to get it done. So with that said, that's why I haven't made any videos. Let's talk about what I've gotten done though. So as you can see here, the FJ40 is pretty much done, right? So it's all wired up, almost all loomed. The only things missing here is this bundle of wires, which are all for the sensors for the gauge cluster. I did decide to use a factory FJ40 gauge cluster, which would go here, and these obviously the other end of those terminations. I just ordered everything I need to restore that gauge cluster. So new backing, new stickers, all that stuff. Gonna be really cool. I did tear the whole front end back apart. And the reason why is that I needed to get the alignment better. So now the whole thing fits right. If you guys remember, the hood overhung like maybe ½ an inch. Now it's like perfect. I'm not gonna close it right now, but it is like perfect. I made most of an intake, got a MAF on it, which it didn't have before, loomed all that stuff. Fabricated some brackets to get the original Vortec cover back on, so it's looking awesome. Took the battery box back out and painted it and finished it. Also, I completely restored the HVAC system, not just the blower over here, but also the entire heater box in here. I took it all apart, sandblasted it, painted it, all new seals down in there, so everything works nice and smooth. It's a very simple system, but pretty awesome. The whole interior is now put together with the exception of, again, some of the gauge wiring. This goes to the fuel sender over here, so it's all kind of just laid out where it goes. Shifter and everything is done. Also got this awesome custom gear shift plate made and restored the door. So that shows the automatic trans and the twin stick levers. Very cool. Got some new wheels. I was going to go with wagon wheels, but I found these 17-inch Methods on Facebook Marketplace for a really good deal, and I actually really like them. Those are 33s. They do need new tires and the wheels refinished, but for what I got them for, can't really beat it, and it looks pretty awesome. I pretty much finished building the front bumper. I do have to do like the edges coming out, but the shackle mounts go straight to the frame and stuff, so that's done enough for now. I guess that's about it. It's pretty much just all put together and done right. So yeah, cage is painted and in, and of course it's in neutral or park. And it runs great. Now, we haven't taken it for our first drive yet just because it doesn't have a windshield and it's freaking cold out in Connecticut at this point, but we are going to very soon. It's definitely ready for a maiden voyage. So that thing turned out absolutely awesome. But since it's pretty much done, that's why I had to buy a new project, guys. So we're going to get to that eventually. The next thing that has changed since the last time you saw a video, though. So you guys remember, I think it was one of the last videos I made before this little hiatus we have going here was on the Altima. And that was getting the Altima out on the street and some of the little like punch list items finished so I could get it out of here. And that was because something else was coming into the shop. I told you guys that, that's for sure. Well, the Altima is gone. And actually, fun fact, my RX-7 FD is gone too. I sold it, actually, which was a really surprising development for me, but the right person was here with the right amount of money at the right time with a trailer, and it's gone. So I got a parking spot back, which is nice, but I do kind of miss it. Anyway, so the thing that came in here, I told you was not going to be a car, and it is not. It is a full-size vertical machining center. So this is a circa 2000 Haas VFO. It's in really, really good shape, really, really low hours. I have been running it. It's kind of nice. I restored a Kurt Weiss for it. It works like a champ, but it does take up like most of the garage bay. But right now, I have 2 CNC mills and a manual lathe. I can basically make anything I want in here now. Not that I couldn't before, but it's a whole lot easier now. The problem with this mill is that when you're running something, you kind of have to sit there and like vacuum up chips or blow out the chips and spray oil. This thing's got coolant, obviously high pressure coolant. So I can just like fire it up and go eat dinner with my wife and let it make parts. It's awesome. But it did take some time because I don't have 3-phase power in here. So I went through a saga of getting a variable or a rotary phase converter here. It was broken. I bought a broken one like everything else I buy. So I had to like build a new controller for it and fix it and everything. But this thing's all wired up. It runs great. I've been using it, not regularly, I guess, but kind of just learning to program it because I have a lot of programming experience, but I never really messed with Haas's. So it's all kind of new to me. So anyway, that is that, and very, very exciting, and also has something to do with the professional side of the, time constraints I've had recently. Now that we've gone through those updates, let me show you what I bought. Okay, so as you guys are aware, the 3 vehicles I have left, minus my RX-7, the 63 Ford, which is sitting right there, my Willys M38 Army Jeep, and the 72 Land Cruiser all have something in common, and that is that they only comfortably sit 2 people, or I guess I would say safely sit 2 people. Now, I also told you guys my wife is pregnant, so we're starting a family. That's very, very exciting. However, it does present me with a problem, and that problem is that I can't enjoy any of these things with like a newborn and a child seat, or moving past that, let's say we have 2 kids and they're 5 and 7 or 8, like you can't really do it. So when am I gonna take the family out in the classic truck or whatever, which my wife and I love to drive? Never, right? It's gonna be 10, 12 years before I'm back to just like cruising around with my wife. The kids can stay at home or whatever. Actually, more than 10 or 12 years. I guess you don't leave 10-year-olds home alone, but whatever. So I've known this is coming. We've been working on a family for years. So I've known what I wanted. And what I wanted was a 73 to 79 dent side, that's called Ford crew cab truck. Now, for those of you that are aware of those trucks, you know they are very rare because Ford didn't really get into the crew cab game full speed until like the 80s. So what few there were made prior to like 1970 or 71, they were all coach built. Actually, I think it might be 66 they were all coach built. After that, Ford Canada made them all in Ontario. They were all special ordered. There's not that many of them out there. So anyway, I've been looking for a project for a while because the value of these things is completely insane. During COVID, a really nice one went at auction for like $220,000 or something like that. And that really set the stage for like a bull rush of prices going up on these things. It's completely insane now. Like a nice restored one is like 60,000 plus. That's not my game, obviously. Plus I like building them, so I don't really like, just buying them even if I could. So I've been on the hunt for a project. The problem with these things is they're either $1 million or they're unfixable by most people's standards. So because my wife is now pregnant, I'm kind of running out of time to get this project going. I spotted one on Facebook Marketplace and I did the only logical thing. I bought the absolute worst one ever, and that is this. Ta-da! So this is a 1976 factory 4x4. They call it an F26 code truck. That's what the VIN starts with, which makes it a high boy with the narrow frame, short bed, factory 4-speed. very rare truck. So they made 2,490 of these in 1976, which is a very small amount. And you have to imagine the vast majority of the, like now crew cabs, everyone buys a crew cab, right? But back then, the only way you bought a crew cab is if you're trying to move 6 full-size guys to a job site, which means almost all of these were bought by like business owners or the railroad or logging companies. So of those 2,490, how many do you really think are left and haven't been crushed? I would venture to guess a very small amount, less than half, almost certainly, right? So yeah, this thing is pretty much junk. Most people, there's no way they would even attempt to fix it. But I'm a glutton for punishment, and almost anything is fixable, and it certainly has the rarity to it, so I bought it. It does have a clean title, it can be registered, and the valuable stuff is there. So basically when you buy one of these things, you're buying the rear doors, right? The rear doors and the door panels. They're irreplaceable, no one makes them. It's different than the front door. They never came on anything else other than this truck. Very hard to find, like the rear doors and some parts inside the rear doors and the door panels. And then of course the cab. Obviously you can see this thing's kind of doing the wave. You know, maybe it's possible that it has no floors in it whatsoever, and the cab mounts are pushing through the floor. Now it's just sitting on the frame. That might be the reason why. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix all that stuff. So let's dig in a little deeper on this so I can show you exactly what kind of condition we're talking about. Okay, gang, so first thing I want you to notice about this. There isn't a good panel on this truck. Literally anywhere. No good panel. They're all trashed. Except the front bumper, which is not just not trashed. It's perfect. Not one tiny spot of pitting in the chrome or peeled chrome or anything. It is perfect. How that's possible is definitely one of life's great mysteries, I guess. I don't know. It was a plow truck. Obviously it has the plow mount. The controls are also in the cab, and it shows. I mean, it was a Pennsylvania truck, so it was a plow truck right to the bitter end, obviously. They just went until it would not go anymore. Big problems with it for sure. We'll look at the inside and I'll show you how bad that is, but the floors, you can always fix floors, right? The problem with this thing is the roof, and that's a common problem on these trucks. The front I think could be saved. The sides are pretty rough. Someone filled it with Bondo at some point to try to cover up the carnage, but that was unsuccessful. The saving grace, I guess, is the drip rails are actually good all the way around, from the bottom and from the top. They're really not rusted. It's really just the roof skin, but around here it's rotted through. Over on that side it's rotted through. The cab corners look good, but they're full of Bondo. Yeah, rocker. What rocker? Doesn't exist. That's what's left of it. But yeah, that's no good. The thing was actually falling further and further down on the frame as we towed it home. Moving to the inside, these doors are actually not bad. They need a little work on the bottom. The crew cab doors are actually really good. So they need a little bit of work on the bottom corners. But the nice thing about it is the shape is the same as the front door. So I can cut a piece out of the front door, fix the rear door. And then the front doors, like most of the floor, dash, all of that stuff, is the same as a regular cab truck. So you can just buy regular cab doors and parts, which are a dime a dozen. Now, he was nice enough to throw in some parts. This is a tailgate that he threw in at the last second. This is the original radiator, which I'm assuming is junk anyway. We do have the hood hinges there. And then right when he realized I might actually fix this thing, because I showed him pictures of the Land Cruiser, he went and grabbed me a set of cab corners that he had and threw those in. So that's nice, right? $60 cab corners on my piece of junk truck here. Now, let's check out what's missing here. So you guys might notice that the only thing here is the carpet. That's the frame. There is no floor. No floor at all. Now, there is plenty of evidence that the person who owned this had no access to a welder and was just trying to keep it going. Part of that evidence is right there. The whole floor is made of fiberglass and Bondo. I have no idea what's under it. Probably nothing, I'm assuming. Now, piece of evidence number 2. Here's the front cab mounts right there. You will notice A, they are falling through, so that's why the cab is sagging in the front. B, they are bolted into the firewall lip with like a piece of channel iron that's also bolted to the firewall. So that's going to be a major problem. I'm probably going to have to rebuild a little bit of the firewall right there, but it's not that bad. The firewall itself is not that bad. The mounts and the floors they don't exist. Now let's move to the back here. This outside door handle doesn't like working, so about the same thing. Got a little bit of the rocker, certainly enough to measure off of and get it in the right spot again. This step well here, we're gonna have to rebuild from scratch, but no big deal. It's basically just a squared off piece of metal. That's easy. Seat belts are all intact. Here's a fun little thing. Rear seat belt, 6-man crew cab. That's a rare piece. Obviously impossible to find, virtually irreplaceable. Here's another example of things I was saying that are like, just, you can't get them. It's like this panel. You know, they don't exist outside of the crew cab world. Now, one nice thing, I guess, is when I mentioned I was going to fix it, he did say he had a couple of roof cuts. So he gave me 2 complete and relatively rust-free roofs off of regular cabs. So I have all the strips of material here and drip rail that I could ever need to restore this roof. So that's kind of nice, I guess, if you're looking for, you know, bright sides over here. Now, passenger side, actually not nearly as bad, believe it or not. The rocker is kind of there. It just needs pieces put in. The front of it is actually intact. The rear of it is actually quite solid. The floor in here needs to be replaced. I haven't pulled the carpet yet, but it is there enough to measure and see what it's supposed to look like, which is really important because you can buy the front pans, but you can't buy the rear. So one side has to be complete enough that I can measure it, mirror it, and do the same thing on the other side and make this thing as close to original as possible. And then gotta open this one from the inside also. Maybe I can't get it because it's on a hill. There we go. I'm doing acrobatics here to try to get these doors open for you guys. This one, about the same thing. Needs some rocker work, no big deal. You can buy them because, again, this is the same as the front rocker, so you just buy regular truck parts. The front is solid going up the post. The rear is solid going up the post. Cab corner is smoked, but we have them. Cab corners are always smoked. Roof over here, you know, shot, but the drip rail, again, can be saved. Up here is where we do have some actual holes, and that extends all the way through to the inside where it's rotted out right there. The rear seat is intact, although I'll probably put like a King Ranch interior in this or something. The headliner is intact. Just to put this in perspective, the frame around the edge of the headliner is worth like $1,000 because it didn't come in anything else. It's only crew cab stuff. So, yeah, everything's pretty much there. This side, again, intact enough that I can copy it to do the other side. Yeah, front clip, completely shot. Not even worth talking about. Hood's smoked, fender's smoked, grill is smoked, lights are smoked, windshield's smoked. Yeah, cal is pretty good. Actually, it's really good. Doesn't have any dents or anything, which is cool because the 63 had a big freaking ding right here and it was actually a pain in the butt, only because it's so visible you really want to put in all the effort to fix it right. Up here, again, I think I can probably fix this with parts from the other ones without doing like a roof skin, but around the edge, I don't know. Now, for those of you that are saying right now, Sean, you are an absolute idiot, send that thing to the junkyard. No. It can be fixed. It's going to be a pain in the butt. I really don't know how to fix the roof yet, but we'll figure that out. What's funny is the guy had a cab that he was selling with it. For double the price, I could have gotten pretty much a rust-free cab. It needed floor pans, but the roof was mint and the doors were mint, and like, it was nice. But I don't know. I like saving them. So if I bought a cab, this thing is destined for the crusher, and I don't want that. You know, it's a rare truck. I want to save it. So I'm going to save the cab. Or I'm going to save this cab. The other cab went to someone else. So instead of saving one truck, we're saving 2 trucks, right? Can't beat it. Now, how do you do this? You can't take the cab off the frame. Optimally, I would probably start right now with doing the roof because the roof is going to be the biggest pain in the butt. So you kind of want to get over that hill and then it's all easier stuff. Normally I would do that. But with what I learned doing this truck, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the floors first. So we're going to leave the doors on, leave it on the frame. We're going to do rockers. We're going to do the pillars that go into the rockers, both sides, and we're going to do the floor, and we're going to do the front body mounts and get this thing stable on the frame and square. And the reason why is that as much as you guys are looking at this and thinking that can't be fixed, that should go to the junkyard, my 63 over here was actually worse, or very similar condition. I had to fabricate half the firewall. I had to fabricate floors all the way across. It didn't have any roof damage, which is why I'm saying I've never done that. That's going to be interesting. But everything else, really similar. And what happened with that truck is I tried to take it off the original frame and do the floors, and it folded in half. The firewall broke at the floor. It fell down. And as much as that truck is really nice and an awesome driver and totally rust-free, it's not square. It's not perfectly square. I know it's not perfectly square. I had to modify the doors to get them to close correctly. So it'll never be like a totally original truck again because of that. So I learned my lesson. I'm gonna keep the doors on this one. That way I can keep them closed, check the gaps, measure them very carefully, and stabilize that bottom, put rockers in it, and get it square and stable again. So it's not like a wet noodle flopping around when you're doing all this stuff. It is just rigid enough right now to do that work. As you can see, the gaps are not bad. The doors close actually really, really nice. It's square. It won't be for long, and if you take it off this frame, I almost guarantee you it's going to fold a little bit and will not be square anymore, especially with the weight of the glass, on the front. The firewall is going to fall down. That's what happened on the 63, and that's what will happen here. So that's what you're going to see coming up very, very soon. I'm getting ready to order all the sheet metal for the floor right now, and I am going to try to just like cannonball through this before the end of the year. So we're coming up on Thanksgiving. It's starting to get cold. What I'd like to do is be able to take the cab off and maybe work on it in the garage in the winter. So in order to do that, I got to stabilize it. So yeah, we're going to be cutting out all that floor and stuff. But to wrap up this video, I am going to take everything out of the interior. We're going to pull the carpet out, and we're going to see just how bad this is. So let's get to work assessing the damage. Okay, so the front end's off. I ended up cutting it off because there's literally nothing good on it. So I just took the Sawzall to it. And what we learned is that, believe it or not, it's worse than I thought. I thought I had some firewall to work with. Yeah, turns out I don't. It's pretty much shot all the way up. It's now looking exactly like the 63 looked when I got it. It is okay across the middle. So I guess if we're looking for bright sides, there's that. These cowl boxes are good. They sell replacements for those, and I don't need them. That's cool, I guess. Everything from there down needs to be made from scratch, and I think the fact that someone tried to fiberglass it all makes it worse, actually. Because now I have to peel all the fiberglass and Bondo out of it before I assess how bad it really is. This was once the body mount. So that's cool. It's just kind of sit, and I've been wondering what stopped the cab from falling. Turns out it's the transmission. It's just sitting on the transmission there, so that's nice. This side, I guess not a whole lot better. Same deal. Firewall all the way up is pretty torched. And more evidence that this person that had it before had no access to a welder, because they just bolted some angle iron to the firewall and then bolted the body mount to it. So that's kind of cool. That body mount might work if the mount itself wasn't just pushed right through it. Again, with the fiberglass, so that's evidence of the floor inside. It had this rocker on it before, but it came off with the fender. It's in the pile over there. So, I don't know, if we're looking at bright sides, like the cowl, pretty good, right? Cowl box on this side is good. Maybe a little surface rust, but no big deal, right? So that survived. Other than that, yeah, it's junk, but we are gonna carry on. So let's start taking the interior apart. Maybe there'll be a bright side in there. right, guys, so she's stripped. Feast your eyes on this. You can see the Bluetooth floorboards here. That's cool, and rocker. I can pull the whole side of the truck out, so that's pretty neat. The tunnel is there. That's really the only thing holding the front to the back, honestly. The middle of the floor, it's there. It's rusty from the bottom, but if I blasted it, it would be fine. It's totally disconnected over here. It's not connected. And then across the back, yep, not connected there either. And it's barely connected back there. Not 100% sure what's holding the truck together. Let's look at the other side. So a little better. We got good steel back here. It's connected. That's routed out. Oh, it's actually routed out all the way across. This whole thing is disconnected. That's good. Up here, not bad, I guess. Couple little holes in the floor I can fix relatively easily. Again, the center's kind of good. It's like you'd have to work out from there. This is good. The rocker is solid enough that it's like straight. Over here we have another Bluetooth floorboard. I cut most of the fiberglass out, but there is more. Honestly, I think the fiberglass is holding it together right now, so I'm a little nervous to cut it out. The tunnel is solid here, so that's important because the pans come up to like right there. So that's solid all the way. You could put a pan in it, connect it to a rocker, put a panel in there. Like it could be done. Yup. So that's pretty much that. The firewall is trashed at the seam on both sides. You can actually see the great outdoors through the firewall right there. And there's the bottom of that pillar. Very nice. This pillar, I'm imagining once the fiberglass comes out, looks the same. You can actually see it flexing right there. That's pretty cool. There's actually some, like you can see, like, hey, original red right there. There's like that spot, 6 inches square. All right, guys, so she's stripped apart, and honestly, it is significantly worse than even I thought it was going to be, and I knew it was bad. There's really nothing left to it, so I guess the questions are, one, can it be fixed? Yes, obviously, anything can be fixed. I mean, they completely rebody cars at this point, so can it be fixed? Yes. Should it be fixed? No, absolutely not. It should definitely go to the junkyard, and any smart man would go and get another cab for it. Will I fix it? I don't know at this point. It's going to take a ton of time that I don't have right now, and I'm going to have less of, but I'm kind of on the fence. For some reason, I do want to fix it, but I don't know. So I guess let me know in the comments what you guys think I should do. Should I just, bulldoze through it and put a whole new floor in it and a new firewall and a new rear mounts and a new roof and have a really, really rare original truck? Or should I just go and seek a new cab? Let me know. Tell me what you're thinking. Until then, we'll decide on the next episode of Ran When Parked. I am going to go seek some personal financial advice and maybe get a tetanus shot.